Adolf Hitler's story. From a young dreamer to a broken soldier. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20, 1889, in a small town called Braunau am Inn in Austria. He was the fourth of 6 children born to Alois Hitler and Clara Hitler. His father was a strict man who worked for the Austrian government. His mother was kind and loving, and Adolf loved her deeply. As a child, Adolf was not very good in school. He didn't enjoy studying and he often got into trouble. But he loved drawing. He dreamed of becoming a great artist. When he was a teenager, he moved to Vienna, the capital of Austria, hoping to get into art school. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts, but he was rejected. Not once, but twice. These rejections crushed him. His dream of becoming an artist was over. He had no job, no money, and no clear path. He lived in poor conditions, often staying in shelters and sleeping on benches. During this time, Hitler began to blame others for his failures. He especially blamed the Jewish people, even though they had nothing to do with his struggles. This was the beginning of the hate and anger that would later grow much darker. In 1914, World War I broke out. Hitler saw this as a chance to start a new life. He joined the German army, even though he was Austrian. He served as a messenger on the front lines and was known to be brave. He was injured twice and received medals for his service. But after Germany lost the war in 1918, Hitler was devastated. He believed Germany had been betrayed from within, especially by Jews and communists. This idea, though false, became a central part of his beliefs. After the war, Germany was in deep trouble. Its economy was broken. People were hungry, jobless, and angry. The country was forced to pay huge amounts of money to other nations because of the war. This made life even harder. Many Germans felt humiliated and lost. In this atmosphere of pain and confusion, Hitler found a voice. In 1919, he joined a small political group called the German Workers' Party. He quickly rose through the ranks because of his powerful speeches. He was passionate, dramatic, and angry. People listened. They believed him. He promised to make Germany strong again. Soon, the group changed its name to the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. In 1923, Hitler tried to take over the German government by force in what became known as the Beer Hall Putsch. Failed. Hitler was arrested and sent to prison. During his time behind bars, he wrote a book called Mein Kampf, which means My Struggle. In this book, he shared his extreme beliefs: love for Germany, hatred of Jews, and the dream of building a powerful German empire. When Hitler was released, many people had forgotten about him. But slowly, with powerful speeches and promises to restore Germany's pride, he gained followers again. The economy was still weak, and people were looking for hope. Hitler offered them that hope, though it came with dangerous ideas. By the early 1930s, the Nazi Party had grown very strong. Hitler used fear, lies, and powerful speeches to win support. In 1933, he was named Chancellor of Germany, one of the most powerful positions in the country. This is where part 1 ends. Adolf Hitler had risen from a poor, rejected artist to the leader of one of the most powerful countries in the world. But what came next would be one of the darkest chapters in human history. In 1933, Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. This was a huge step for him and for the Nazi Party. But he wanted more power. A few months later, the Reichstag building, home to Germany's parliament, was set on fire. Hitler used this as an excuse to pass a law called the Enabling Act, which gave him full control of the government. Democracy was over. Hitler was now a dictator. Once in power, Hitler began changing Germany quickly. He banned other political parties, jailed or killed his enemies, and used fear to control people. He created a secret police called the Gestapo to watch and punish anyone who disagreed with him. He also built massive propaganda campaigns. Posters, films, and speeches all praised him as Germany's savior. People were told to worship him like a hero. Hitler believed that Germans were the superior race and should rule over others. He hated Jews, blaming them for Germany's problems. Soon new laws were passed to remove Jews from jobs, schools, and public life. In 1935, the Nuremberg Laws were introduced, which took away the citizenship of Jews and banned them from marrying Germans. This was just the beginning. While this was happening inside Germany, Hitler also began rebuilding the military, which had been limited after World War I. He ignored international rules and built more weapons and soldiers. The world watched, but most countries were still recovering from the last war and didn't stop him. In 1938, Hitler took over Austria without a fight. Then he wanted Czechoslovakia. World leaders tried to stop war by giving him what he wanted. This policy was called appeasement, and for a while it worked. But Hitler wasn't going to stop. In 1939, he made a secret deal with the Soviet Union and then invaded Poland. That was the final straw. On September 1, 1939, World War II began. At first, Hitler's army won quickly. Poland fell. Then Denmark, Norway, Belgium, and France followed. By 1940, most of Europe was under Nazi control. Hitler seemed unstoppable. He even tried to invade Britain, but British people fought back bravely in the air, and Hitler failed to break them. Meanwhile, Hitler continued his cruel actions against Jews. In 1941, he ordered what would later be known as the Final Solution, the plan to kill all Jews in Europe. Millions of Jewish men, women, and children were taken to concentration camps. Places like Auschwitz became death factories. They were starved, tortured, and murdered. This genocide, known as the Holocaust, killed around 6 million Jews, along with millions of others, Roma people, disabled individuals, and political prisoners. In 1941, Hitler made a big mistake. He attacked the Soviet Union, breaking his earlier promise. At first, the German army made fast progress. But the Russian winter was brutal. Soldiers froze, supplies ran low, and the Soviets fought back hard. This war drained Hitler's forces. In 1942, the United States entered the war after Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. Now, Hitler faced powerful enemies on all sides: Britain, the US, and the Soviet Union. Slowly, the tide began to turn. The German army started losing battles. In 1944, the Allied forces landed in France on D-Day and pushed German troops back. At the same time, the Soviets were moving in from the east. Hitler's dream of a German empire was collapsing. By early 1945, Germany was surrounded. Cities were bombed. The people were tired, hungry, and afraid. Hitler refused to surrender. He believed Germany should fight to the very end. But inside his bunker in Berlin, he knew the war was lost.